If you have been with the narcissist for a while, months or years, you know that breaking up with them is not an easy thing to do. As a matter of fact, it's likely the hardest breakup you have ever had. Because it involves a lot of back and forth, likely a lot of mini breakups in between, and it's likely not the first time you have attempted to do so. When the final stage of a breakup comes, for me, this was the hardest thing that I had to go through, because at this point, there is no more argument, no more anything really. I have completely pulled my energy back, meaning once we had a conversation, they feel that my energy is no longer there for them to be used, and that there is nothing really they can do or say for me to stay. They will feel that. They will feel that your energy is intact with you, and that you're no longer responding to any gaslighting. You're no longer responding to any triggers, any baits that they're trying to pull out from you. And unfortunately, you know, you're very, I was very kind of resolved in my decision that this is it. It was not the first time I have attempted to break up, and this last time was very hard because they knew that I'm resolved to do this. I was very calm. I wasn't getting angry. They were throwing insults at me left and right. I did not respond. I did not react. Their words, his words, meant really nothing anymore to me. And this is when it escalates. This is when basically you have delivered another narcissistic injury to the narcissist. And this is when things escalate really, really bad, because they realize that the insults don't work anymore, the manipulation tactics don't work anymore, promises don't work anymore, love bombing doesn't work, nothing works. So likely, as in my experience, the narcissist will go a step further and threaten you with all kinds of stuff. And I'm saying this because this has happened to me. He has threatened my life. He has threatened, at this point I was already away, and this was a phone conversation. We were not under the same roof, and he didn't know where I was, but he threatened that he will find me. He threatened my life, basically. And he threatened some of my family as well. Here's the thing, though. Depending on how mad they are, you know, everywhere you see or hear, you can, or read, they will say to you that you should believe when they threaten you and when they say things under while they're in the narcissistic rage. In my view, and again, this is my view, I have stopped the conversation. I hung up the phone and I let it sit. I didn't want to hear what he had to say or the threats that he had to say, and he wouldn't want to put this into a text message because he knew better that once he puts that into a text message, I have proof that of the threats, right? So I stopped talking on the phone, meaning I obviously I can't stop him from saying, or I can't stop what comes out of his mouth, but I can stop listening to what he has to say. And that's exactly what I did. And I let it go for like a few days. The next conversation we had, he was apologizing for what he said. And he again tried to rekindle the relationship. But I was resolved completely. Again, he attempted to threaten me, and I hung up the phone immediately. So I didn't even hear, as soon as he started, I hung up. I heard nothing. And I texted him that I will not speak to him if I hear any threats or any insults ever again. And that was it. I think at this point he knew. I mean, we weren't living together. This was, I don't know how many times we've broken up and got back together. And every time it was promises of change and all kinds of stuff that obviously never happened. And this time I was done, and that was it. And the next step, if the narcissist thinks that you are a good supply to them, that you can provide validation, support, help in any way, they will attempt to keep you around, regardless of what kind of relationship that is. My ex-narcissist attempted to keep me around as friends. Now, why they want to be friends? Because you can still provide a listening ear to them, help, support, emotional support, validation, potentially admiration, whatever it is that you were providing to them in a relationship, you can continue to provide that to them as friends. So my ex decided that he would want to be friends. And I said no to that too. Because as soon as I was like, okay, maybe we can be friends, it didn't, not even like a few days passed before he again started insulting me for the same things that he was insulting me in a relationship for. And that was it. That was truly it. I was completely done. Now, in your case, you may have kids, you may be living under the same roof, you may be entangled in this relationship with a lot more things that need to be untangled than me. In which case, you need a plan. You need a plan, and that plan needs to be fully executed before you have that conversation, okay, with the narcissist. You need to ensure that you have planned it all out, you know your exit, you know how you're going this, and you need to plan for all of the possible scenarios, because I don't want you finding yourself in a situation where someone is physically harmed, and that could be anyone in your family, including your kids. So going no contact is not easy in some situation and certain circumstances. If you are married, if you have kids, if you just cannot go no contact immediately, you need to have a plan. And we'll talk about this in the next video. But for this time around, this is all I have for today. And I'm hoping this is helpful. I'd like to hear from you. Please leave a comment. I love to read your stories. I love to know about you and what your story is. It helps me also create more content. But in terms of our relationship with the narcissist, once you realize who you're dealing with, in my opinion, this is when you start planning your exit. The narcissist is never going to change. They will promise you all kinds of stuff, all kinds of things. It will never happen. Okay? And you're in a cycle. You will continue to be in a cycle of abuse, love bombing and abuse for the rest of your life if you don't stop it. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you accept the fact that you're dealing with someone who has a personality disorder that cannot be changed. They're also not willing to change. That's not what your life is about. Your life is about realizing who you're with and stepping away from that. Okay? Much love to you, and I'll see you soon.